obviously our public works. So the message here today is don't be complacent. There's already a storm out there. There's been more than one storm. It looks like it could be a pretty active year, so this is time to ensure you, your family, and your neighbors are ready. Local law enforcement, first responders, emergency personnel, and other leading agencies are committed to ensuring that not only is the city prepared for this season, but that every citizen has the tools and resources they need to make informed decisions and have the resources they need for themselves to keep their families safe. Last week, our local civic emergency and law enforcement leaders met for our annual stakeholder meeting to brief about the coming months and ensure we're ready to cooperatively work and effectively in the event of a major storm. We always hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. I hope this season passes without incident, but I urge every citizen to review their Jack's Ready Emergency Preparedness Guide online at jacksready.com. And I'm going to say it over and over again, know your zone, prepare your kit. You can find that information on jacksready.com. You don't want to be in it's been a number of years since we've had to do an evacuation. You don't want to be in a situation where we're up here saying we're looking at evacuating or we're evacuating and you don't know your zone. So with that, I'll turn it over to our Undersheriff.
Thank you, Mayor. So good afternoon. I want to thank Mayor Curry and the rest of our city leaders for coming together to help raise awareness about the importance of being prepared this hurricane season. No matter when the First Coast is impacted by a storm, we want you to know that the men and women of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office will be here for you. We hope you will take the time in the next few days to start preparing for the season by making a plan for your family and pets. If or when we have tropical weather that calls for evacuations, we urge you to follow the orders from the mayor's office. Keep in mind there will be a point during the storm where law enforcement will not be responding to calls for service, and we will be seeking shelter. Immediately following the severity of the storm, officers will be back out assessing damages and helping citizens. What this means is, if you are asked to leave, please do so. You can rebuild a home and a business, but human life cannot be replaced. Bridges are always top of mind during a storm, and especially when evacuations are ordered. Please know that we actively monitor for sustained wind speeds, and once a certain threshold is met, a bridge will be shut down. There won't be a warning prior to the closure. So please make sure you are where you need to be well before severe weather arrives. And lastly, even with our summer afternoon thunderstorms, we sometimes see flooding on our roadways. Please do not drive into standing water and be sure to report obstacles in our roadways. This will allow for us to dispatch a patrol unit to the scene and ensure areas remain as safe as possible. So in closing, we are here for you throughout the duration of any storm. Please stay tuned to the official communication channels, JSOPIO, City of Jacks, and Jacks Ready on Twitter. Make a plan, be vigilant, and stay safe out there. Thank you.
Thank you, and we've got the folks from the independent agencies up here to answer questions along with myself. Again, I would just reiterate, 2016, 2017, we had pretty severe impacts in our city. We had a pretty close call, I believe it was in 2019. So be prepared, know your zone, prepare your kit. With that, we'll take questions.
Hi, Mayor. Two-part question. First off, you were talking of evacuations, leave if you're told. A lot of people are concerned because gas prices have gone up, there's shortages out there. How are we going to deal with that this year if people get stuck in traffic? You know that's going to be a problem. Second question, obvious, the sheriff isn't here today. If you could address the issue when you learned about the vacancy, his moving out of town, your thoughts on that, what do you want to see happen, and do you think that that's right?
Yeah, well, first, to your first part of the question, important question, and we deal with this every year. Gas prices obviously are an issue this year. They are a major issue that are hurting families. But we work closely, our sheriff's office, with Florida Department of Transportation, in the governor's office in the event we have to evacuate. And we have worked in previous years to mitigate major traffic jams and traffic flows that don't work, and we'll continue to do that this year. We're very careful with timing and how we get people in and out. Second part of your question, I learned last week, actually I believe as you guys were getting ready to ask the questions that same day, I think you guys had asked the question of the sheriff. He called me and told me he had just gotten the question, told me that he had moved. I would say, look, the legal opinion, the legal answer on this, the lawyers will figure that out. Okay, I'm not weighing in on that. Mike Williams was elected by the people of Jacksonville, and wherever the legal opinion falls, that's what we worked through. I can say that I've worked closely with this sheriff for years, for 7 years now, through many crises, mass shootings, hurricanes, working to drive our murder rate down, invest in our kids, and he's always engaged and he's always involved. And one thing I don't want this narrative to happen is people can debate the residency thing. Don't start saying the guy's been absent, he's not been a good sheriff, because that's just not true.
Should he be paid? Should he have
Again, the lawyers are going to have to, that's between the lawyers and where that ends.
Mr. Mayor, there's been an issue in the last year with trash pickup. Jacksonville's way behind. We could barely keep up with it when there's no storm. If we have major storm come through and there's yard debris everywhere, what's the plan for that? Is staffing at adequate levels?
Well, we have emergency contracts for emergency situations, which you can't just implement when you're not in an emergency situation. And if you look at the last two storms that we've been through in 2016 and 2017, my team worked with our contractors, drove them hard, and they answered the call and got the debris up and moved. So we have manpower ready in an emergency situation to handle that.
The legislature in the property insurance reform bill included some grant money for Floridians to take advantage of to harden their homes. Do you know, is that accessible already? Where would Floridians go to access those funds? And, you know, is it too late at this point to be looking at hardening your home now that hurricane season has started?
Well, does anyone know the answer to the funds thing? If they don't, up here, we'll get back to you on that. No, I mean, you should be working on your home right now. In fact, I had tree limbs removed from my yard yesterday, preparing for this season. So this is the time to get it done.
Hurricane Irma and Hurricane Matthew, major damage here in town, and they're still making repairs on that. Do you know where we stand, particularly in some of the areas? You know, and are you surprised that it's taking this long?
Many of those issues deal with FEMA reimbursements, Jim, and if we spend money that we don't have approval from the federal government on, we don't get that money back. And so many of the situations that I've been aware of is working with the feds to be able to make sure we can get reimbursed so taxpayer dollars aren't expended and then not reimbursed when they should be.
We talked about gas issues. There's also supply chain issues. A lot of store shelves are bare. Is this going to be compounded if there's a major storm here and supply chains are stretched even more thin? And what would you say to people who are, you know, trying to go to the store when things go bad?
I mean, I think, again, let's just step back and think about what we've dealt with in previous hurricanes. This is a time to be prepared, not a time to panic, not even a time to overbuy. We have gotten, electricity gets turned back on, we deliver water, we've been able to help people when they're in a time of need. Go get what you need from the store now and store it for a hurricane. There's no need to be rushing the grocery stores at the last minute. And look, the supply chain and the gas prices are out of our control. We just have to work as a community to make sure that everybody's working together.
This is a question for Undersheriff Ivey. Yesterday in speaking with Council Member Salem, he said one of the biggest concerns about this whole residency issue, which I'm not asking you directly about, was the fact that hurricane season is now upon us. Is JSO ready regardless of how this pans out, and has this impacted officer morale at all?
I can't speak on morale. I'm related to two policemen. My son and my son-in-law are on the department. I've actually not even had this conversation with them, so I can't speak on the morale piece. But I would echo kind of what the mayor said in the beginning earlier. He's been a great sheriff. Listen, you can't dispute a guy that's done 3 decades serving this community and his track record, period. As far as we have 2 full-time teams that are ready at the drop of a hat to step in, and we coordinate with the city and the EOC, so we will be prepared. As an agency, we have a plan. We just move on the plan. That's all it takes. Flip the switch.
All right.
If anyone can speak to schools, I know schools and getting kids in and out, closure of schools. They're dealing with school security mandates, maybe even more school security mandates. What can you say about schools, and is the school system prepared for everything they've got going on currently and then possibly a major storm?
I don't think we have. Do you vote?
Dr. Green was unable to make it, but she will be available at 2:30.
She'll be with us at 2:30, but I will say, when we do our stakeholder meetings and our emergency operations center preparations, they are present, so we are all coordinated and organized for the storm season, and at 2:30 we will be talking about further hardening of our schools as it relates to safety.
I know JEA is here. That's always a major problem during storms here, with power being out for weeks at a time the last time. They've been doing hardening too, I've noticed, around the city as well, putting up new lines or taking down lines. Are you guys really ready? What's up with JEA?
Thank you for that question, Renetta Marshall, JEA. We prepare year-long for the storms, and yes, we are definitely ready. We've invested in hardening in our system, both our electric and our water system. We do maintenance year-long, so yes, we are ready for the storms.
But have you done anything different in preparation now? I mean, is there a major effort going on? I mean, that's the answer we hear every year, like, we're ready, but what have they done?
We do continuous improvement. So yes, we use new technology for our outage map. That's better information for our customers. Yes, we've increased our maintenance. We've increased our inspection. So yes, we are ready.
Any additional questions? All right, thank you guys so much. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Know your zone.